Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Briancrombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So I ran across a fascinating young lady, Maria Barabash is her name, and she's coming to us tonight from Kiev, Ukraine. She is the president at Actions First Foundation. So I wanted to reach out and find out what Actions First Foundation is, what Maria is doing, and how's life in Kiev. And she's just told us that we might get interrupted because an airstrike just was initiated. Maria, how are you?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for inviting. Yes, I'm just in Kiev, and we are trying to help for the Ukrainian victory as much as we can here, helping everyone, mostly our defenders on the front line and also the civilians, but mostly the defenders. And it's like my family fund, Actions First Foundation. It was founded in 2015, but it's now starting the whole-scale invasion starting from the February 24th this year. And we are fundraising for the needs for Ukrainian soldiers. So it's we have fundraised about $500,000 already, and keep on doing that every day to help our soldiers.
And how are you doing that? How are you fundraising?
We have a fundraising campaign in LinkedIn, in Facebook, on website. So we are sending letters to different companies, organizations in Ukraine and abroad who would like to support Ukraine. And we have fully transparent reporting. We're the first NGO in Ukraine that has our bank account is on our website. So it's a special feature of our private bank, the biggest bank in Ukraine. And I have developed it 3 years ago with private bank, and now my NGO is fully transparent because it's very important where the money comes to, and it's very easy in life, real time, see what we buy and who is donating.
And what's your website if people want to go and check it out and potentially donate?
Yeah, sure. Actionsfirst.org. It's very easy, and it's possible to donate via PayPal or Swift or any other, or like crypto or any other format. Before the war, I was the head of the president's office of Michael Saakashvili, but for 2.5 years, helping President Zelensky in reforms, and I was the head of the biggest think tank in Ukraine focused on reforms. But the war took some changes in my life, and now I'm a volunteer. And unfortunately, Michael is in prison for almost 1 year already, and we hope that he will come back to Ukraine as a Ukrainian citizen, but it takes time.
Where is he in prison?
In Georgia.
In Georgia. And he worked for Zelensky as well? And you worked in his office?
He has still a position in the office, and we were working together in the presidential office. He is the secretary of the National Reforms Council under the president of Zelensky.
And for 2 years and 5 months, you were the executive director of the National Reforms Council.
This is
by Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine.
Yeah, this is correct.
Excellent. You've had some interesting experience, and then for the last 8 months, you've been a volunteer in the armed forces of Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm also a volunteer by myself in the Presidential Territorial Defense Unit since the first weeks of the war. I didn't leave my home, and I'm still in Kiev. Just for several weeks, I was out of the Kiev, and it was like for sure the March was I was like reborn for second time, because one of the missiles hit it near my house in 30 meters. So almost all the windows of my house was out, except of like the section where I was actually at that time. So Thanks God I'm alive, and unfortunately, a lot of Ukrainians, it's hundred thousands of Ukrainians. Unfortunately, we have this already identified victims are dead. So
I think
they,
it's over
yeah.
100,000, you think?
Yes, only in Mariupol, according to the Ilyichiv's morgue, it is 87,000 only in Mariupol.
Only Mariupol alone.
And not it's not the full amount. It was because it's not a controlled at this moment, it's not yet controlled by Ukraine, but we will see unfortunately more and more, and it is like the biggest disaster after the World War II.
We're chatting tonight with Maria Barabash, who is in Kiev, Ukraine, about what she does, how she lives, what's going on. And about the organization that she leads that is raising money for Ukrainian fighting forces. Stay with us. We're going to be back in 2 minutes and have more conversation with Maria Barabash from downtown Kiev, Ukraine. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I'm chatting tonight with Maria Barabash. Is that correct, Barabash?
Barabash.
Barabash. I'm pronouncing her name wrong. I apologize for that. Barabash, who has really quite an impressive resume. She graduated in 2002 from the Kiev Gymnasium Console, where she was the head of the class of self-government. She has a bachelor's in philosophy from Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev. She has a degree in business communication from the International Christian University. She has a master's of philosophy degree with distinction from Taras Shevchenko National University. Am I pronouncing that right? Taras
Shevchenko.
Shevchenko National University. Then she has a master's of law also from Taras Shevchenko National University. She's got a degree in the School of Public Administration in Kiev, and then she also graduated in the Young Leaders Program from the Aspen Institute of Kiev. Really quite a comprehensive international educational background.
Yeah, I love to study, but it's actually I'm studying for all my life. And I'm very happy to be like the student, have several degrees of the best Ukrainian university, for one of the best world universities. And it was a great experience.
And then you were a business strategy analyst, a business development manager, a marketing director, a deputy CEO, corporate development director, an executive board member, a founder of A7 Capital Invest in Ukraine, a founder of A7 Creative, a founder of A7 Conferences, a co-founder of the Union of Ukrainian Entrepreneurs, as we talked about, the executive director of the National Reforms Council, the office of the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, a volunteer with the Armed Forces, and now president of Actions First Foundation. So really quite an impressive occupational background as well.
Yeah, it's my life. I work a lot. This is about me.
So now you're in Kiev. Whereabouts? Right downtown or in the suburbs or where?
Yeah, I'm just not far from the presidential administration.
What's it like? You told us that you were already under attack, an air attack this evening. How have you survived? How have you lived?
We are very thankful to our armed forces that keeps us alive. So it's unprecedented, and it's I don't know, it's magic how our armed forces are defending not only Ukraine but the whole Europe and the whole the world before this against this barbarians, like this uncivilized, wholly uncivilized. I cannot even mention them as people. It's not people. It's, I don't know, it's zombies. I don't know who.
Zombies, really?
Yeah, it's more like zombies.
I understand that something like 25% of Ukrainians have blood relatives in Russia. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. My mother is Russian, so I have had a lot of relatives, but now we do not communicate at all, and it's very hard. And I'm very happy that the whole world understands right now that Ukrainians are not Russians. We are not relatives. We are not one single nationality. We are totally different nationalities. It's like Brazilians and Americans. It's totally different nations. Ukraine was founded more than half a century, like 500 years before Russia.
Right.
500 years, like US is only 250 years.
Right.
So we are twice older than comparing to Russia than US. So we are totally different.
Your mother is Russian. Does she live in Russia or does she live in Kiev?
No, she was actually she graduated in Kiev in Ukraine. So because her father, my grandfather, was a military man, he was traveling all over the Soviet Union, and it came that he was born in Russia, but the whole life they lived in Kiev, in Ukraine.
And your mother now is in Kiev?
Yeah, sure.
And so how does she feel about the war? Is she supportive of Russia or of Ukraine?
No, for sure. She started to speak only Ukrainian after she's almost 60 years, but now she started to speak only Ukrainian because she didn't learn Ukrainian while she was in school. So she totally fully supports for sure Ukraine. And
do you or her have relatives still in Russia?
Yes, I have, but I haven't communicated to them at all. So I had some friends like on business with Russia before the 2014, but all of them they they left Russia after February. All of them.
They left Russia, all your friends?
Yes.
And they're living elsewhere in Europe now?
In London, in Toronto, they left Russia because it's a hopeless state until it's controlled by Putin mafia. So it's like not even a state, it's a dictatorship regime of a terrorist.
A dictatorship regime. And tell me, Kiev is not that far from the Russian border. Russia got to the outskirts of the Russian army got to the outskirts of Kiev. How did the Ukrainian army hold off the Russian forces?
Because we're smarter. This is one big reason and the only reason. And that's why we're smarter, because we are on our own territory. We know our land. We have the best knowledge about our territory, about our country, and they didn't have any information. And actually this is for sure, they planned to capture Kyiv in 3 days. It's true. They took with them a parade uniform while they were attacking Kyiv. They didn't have any ammunition, any weapons, any food for a long period. They had food for 1 week. That's all, and the parade uniform. So they didn't expect. And for sure it was very, very hard when the Russian forces was 5 kilometers from my home in Kiev.
5 kilometers, that's all.
Yes, it's very close. When tanks and all these weapons and all these attacks, the missiles that the Russian airplanes were flying above your house, it's very, for sure, crazy. But we were in shelters, and at night and almost all days, and between these times, while we were not in shelters, we were helping the territorial defense. We were fundraising for the uniform, for the medicine, for different kinds of needs that were needed.
Now, you're talking to me now, so you obviously have electricity, you have internet. Are the grocery stores open? Are restaurants open? Can you go out at night?
At night, it's not possible to go. At starting 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. It's a mandatory time, so it's not allowed without a permission to go outside. But we're used to that, so everybody is sleeping at night. So nightclubs for sure they're not working, but all the restaurants they are open till the evening, till as usual till 10 p.m. So it's enough to have time, and everything is working, but we are not thinking about that. So the only thing that we're thinking is two things. First is weapons. We need much more weapons. We need airplanes. We need long distance weapon, and we are very waiting when the Lend-Lease agreement will start to work, because it was signed in May and it's already September, and no weapons via Lend-Lease. And second thing is, what we're thinking is to grow our economy so that the businesses will not exit Ukraine, and we need more international business to come to Ukraine, because if we see like international media like CNN or any other TV, it's like horror in Ukraine, but it's not. We're working here. We're the biggest and we're the largest country in Europe by territory. We're very big. So if the 20% of our territory is occupied, temporarily occupied, we're still the largest country in Europe. So it's very far away from Kiev, the front line. So it's normal life is here.
Normal life in Kiev, really? Seriously?
Yes. Except of nightclubs, but it's not a big problem.
Do you have friends or associates that you've been talking to in any of the cities on the front line, either Mariupol or Kherson or other areas?
Yeah, for example, in Kharkiv, I have a very close friend in Kharkiv, and she's still there. And this is no normal life in Kharkiv for sure. So
now, Kharkiv, I understand, is like 20 kilometers from the Russian border. Is that correct?
Not 20, but 30,
okay.
30, 40. It
so
depends
very close.
It's very big city. It's like previous capital city of Ukraine, so it's very big one. So it's like Los Angeles. It's very spread on the very big square meters. So, but for sure it's very close. But starting like last week, our armed forces started to recapture almost all cities and parts of Kharkiv. So there is a big battle there.
Right. Unbelievable. Yeah. We're chatting with, let me see if I get it right, Maria Barabash. Maria Barabash tonight about what's going on in Ukraine. We're going to take a quick break for some messages and be back with Maria in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saturday Night 60. We're chatting tonight about Ukraine. Our guest is Maria Barabash, who is the president at Actions First Foundation, a charity that's raising funds to support the defense forces in Ukraine. Maria, remind us of the website people can go to if they're interested in checking you out and potentially helping you out.
Actionsfirst.org. Just go there and click donate.
Actionsfirst.org. Let me ask you about your president. You've worked closely with him. You worked as an executive director of an office that reported to him that he chaired in Reform. He was a comic before he ran for politics. And a lot of people didn't expect that he would be such a great president. And he's turned out to be very inspirational. Tell me what you think about the job he's been doing in the last 6-7 months.
So I'm closely working with him more than 2 years already. I met him before he was a president. We actually had a birthday in one day with him, and it's fabulous person. So yes, he was a comic, but he managed the biggest entertainment company in the country. So it's what is needed to be a good president. So you need to be decent, you need to be generous, you need to be open-minded, professional manager. So he has all these features. And after the Russian war, we discovered that he is a very brave person, because he didn't left Ukraine. He didn't because of his security, and still he is in Kiev, and he is going to walk around Kiev in downtown, so it's possible to see him. Yeah, for sure with security, but you know that he is now like target number one by the Russians. So, but he's not afraid, and it's very emotional, and it's very motivation. We had to have a big motivation to have such leader. So we are very lucky to have such president in such hard times. So I think he is like the best suited for that time. And we, for the last 6 months of war, every day we are getting more and more information about him, about his wife. He's also, Olena Zelenska is also a very brave woman who is helping him with a lot of things, and helping with the psychological rehabilitation of our defenders, which is very important, and with children. Doing the not less work that he does. So, but she's very not very public, but she does also a lot of job.
Right.
So yeah.
Now, you were working, you say, with him before he ran for president. Tell me, in what capacity did you know him, and were you working with him?
I just met. I just not worked, but I had a big friend of mine who was his lawyer for more than 10 years. And this lawyer was a lawyer of my family for more than 12 years. So we have some mutual friends. His name is Sergei Nizhny. Unfortunately, he left us last year, but he was very close to president. So, and was very had big influence on his agenda, on his politics. And also for last 2 years, we were holding meetings of the National Reforms Council almost every 2-3 months. It is a meeting where the president is the chair of the meeting. All the cabinet of ministers all ministers are at the round table. The head of the Security Council, the Prime Minister, the head of the Office of President, Andriy Yermak, and all the heads of parliament fractions and committees are on the table. And we were discussing and implementing reforms in Ukraine.
What types of reforms?
For example, we eliminated and disabled corruption in the construction sphere, and we closed a very corrupted agency called DABI. It's like a construction agency that issued certificates for construction, and it was totally corrupted agency. And we managed to launch from scratch a new agency, and now it's totally without corruption, and it saved more than $1 billion of dollars per year for entrepreneurs who are now not paying bribes to the corrupted agency workers. So, and we did it because of Zelensky and Michael Saakashvili initiative, and it's still working, and we're happy to have these results. And then there were many others, like electronic customs for automobiles, to have a custom clearance in your mobile application. It's very easy. So for example, labor relations, and this law has already adapted. So if you have, for example, a company under 250 employees, you don't need to have any relations to the labor court, except of like very general. You just need to have a contract. Like this kind of reforms to easy business, to have more easy business for Ukraine.
Excellent. I think a lot of people are surprised that Ukraine has been able to keep its economy functioning in the middle of a war. How has that happened?
We have a very hardworking people, very hardworking, and very patriotic, and very stressful. I don't know. We are very resilient to stress, and resilient. So for sure, it's very hard. And now I'm working to have more better conditions for business in Ukraine, because starting last month, starting August, more than 37% of our budget is financed by international partners, like US, Canada, Great Britain, European Union, that are helping us with donations, and only 36% is financed by Ukrainian business, by taxes. So we are very stick to this international help, and we are very thankful for that help. Without that, we won't survive for sure, because it's more than a third of our economy, but it's still working. So for sure, a lot of businesses, they cut off the jobs, and but still they're working. So for sure, we were very impacted by the cuts of the seaports that were not working, and still they're working only with grain.
Is that primarily Odessa?
Yes, Odessa, Mykolaiv, Kherson. So it's a very big problem.
And you're saying all that's getting shipped from Odessa is grain. That's it. Nothing else?
Yes, but we're exporting metals like twice larger amount than grain before. We're a metal company, metal exporter, one of the biggest in the world, and now it's totally stopped for 6 months. So it's not possible to export metallic equipment, so metal and like all these kinds of things.
So tell me what you think the West should do today. What should NATO do?
Yeah, to give more weapons, and to help with economy, to have more contracts by Ukrainian producers, to buy more Ukrainian products. We're a very big country, so we have a lot of products, and but we need buyers to support our economy. So weapons and economy products. So these are the rest we will do by ourselves.
Now, a couple months ago, there was a lot of calls for a no-fly zone. I haven't heard that of late. So, and also, requests for jets, and I haven't heard that of late. What weapons do you need? What weapons do you want?
Jets we need for the first thing, for sure. And we're very thankful to, for example, Slovakia, that 1 week ago announced that around 7 jets they will give us. So it's very important. Also long distance weapons, so artillery that could fight the targets for long distance, more more than 100 kilometers. We need that.
Right.
And for sure, the whole other, so we need uniforms, like, because it's winter, it's very cold right now in Ukraine. In the evenings, it's like 7 degrees Celsius. It's rather cold.
Already, really?
Yes, yes, and September, but we need already the. But I think NATO they are supporting 200,000 of uniforms, winter uniforms, but we need more. We need 500,000 at least. So, and all others. So drones, we also need drones. And other weapons that for sure we have the whole list.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think that the war will go on for several more years. It will be or active or inactive, so it will be like waves. It will be very hard time for Ukraine, for sure, but we will win for sure this war, and Ukraine will be a winner. This is 100%, because the civilized world will win anyway, the uncivilized war, which is Russia. After the war will be stopped, and Ukraine will win and will hand all our territories back. So all occupied, including Crimea, will be back to Ukraine.
Including Crimea. So you think Crimea will be handed back? For
sure, 200%. No way. No way.
And so, but you think it's going to take several years?
Yeah, several years it will take. So we need to be ready for that. And for sure, we will need much more support from the Western countries. So they need to realize that it's their war also, because if Ukraine fails, the whole world fails. Baltic countries will be captured for several hours if Ukraine fails. Then Poland, Germany, and France, and so on. So it will be much harder for Canada, for US, for the whole world to defend their democracies if Ukraine fails. But we will not fail for sure, but we need help. And we are very thankful to all, like to Canada and to all the countries that we get in support, but we need more for sure.
Maria Barabash, thank you so much for joining us. Remind us, what's the website people can go to if they want to help you out?
Actionsfirst.org, and just click donate. Thank you.
Actionsfirst.org. You've been very generous with your time. Thank you for staying with us even through an air fight that you say was started just before we joined you. And please check back in with us. We'd love to know how you're doing, and stay safe, and let us know in the future what's going on in Kiev. Really appreciate it. Thanks.